Afternoon, everybody. So today, as I said, we're going to be covering linear inequalities. We're going to be learning how to graph them. That's really the only way you can solve a linear inequality is by graphing. So I'm going to teach you how to do that today. It is going to require that you know how to actually graph a linear equation though. But hopefully you at least either have your linear equation notes or you remember how to do it, one of the two. So let's go ahead and get started. The objective for today is students will be able to solve 10 graphing linear, and actually that's only going to be 8. I decided to cut down the assignment a little bit. Oh no, I think I did do 10. Never mind, I did do 10. So graph 10 linear inequalities with at least 80% accuracy. And again, the standard part you can read, that's not a huge deal. So what you need to know is that for graphing linear inequalities, when we did linear equations, when we just did inequalities, if it was this, it was an open circle, and if it was less than or greater than, it was open circle. If it was less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, it was a closed circle. Okay, so we're going to relate that to a line now, and when we draw our line, it's going to be a dotted line for less than or greater than, and it's going to be a solid line for less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Okay, the other thing you need to know is that we're going to be shading, and when we shade, if it's less than or equal to, we're going to shade below the line. And if it's greater than or equal to, we're going to shade above the line. Okay? And I'll kind of show you how to do that as we're moving through this. So, alright, let's go ahead and look at example number 1. Now for example number 1, I don't want you to shade anything. All I'm looking for you to do is just to graph it. So we're going to go ahead and put our X and Y axis in here. Okay, and I'm going to start, so if you guys remember, we always find our y-intercept, which is at the point 0, -2. I'm going to start there. I'm going to put a point, and then I'm going to use my slope, which is down 3, right 1. So I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, right 4, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put a point. I'm not going to do another one down there. I'm actually going to go backwards now. So I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put another point. And now I am actually going to graph my line. And I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Okay. So the first thing we need to determine after we find this is, do we use a solid line or a dotted line? Okay, and because it is greater than, it means that it's going to be dotted. Alright, so now I am going to cheat because no, I'm not going to do that. See how bad I am at this. Okay, making my dotted line here. Alright, and then, okay, so I have a dotted line now. Okay, so now, this is all I want to do for this one. We're not going to worry about the shading on here. I just want you to get used to seeing it graphed. See that it's dotted because it is greater than or less than, which of this one it actually happens to be greater than, so it's a dotted line. Okay, you don't even, for these, you don't even necessarily have to label your points, but remember, you do need to know how to graph. So so the next one, again, we're going to do something similar, and X and Y axis. Okay. And I'm going to graph again, so my y-intercept is at 0, 3. And my slope is -1/5, so that's down because it's negative, positive because it's right. And up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a second, guys. Okay, so again, we have our 3 points, and so we're going to look at the sign. Our sign is greater than again, which means that it is a dotted line, and we are going to go ahead and graph that again. And I apologize, I'm kind of cheating because I'm using a line here, so it's going to look like it's going to be a solid, but it's not going to be. I just have to actually get it graphed first. Okay. And then I'm going to delete this. And we have our line. And now I'm going to do what is called I'm going to do what is called the perpendicular line test. Okay, if I can get my pencil to work here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line that is perpendicular. Let me, hold on a second. This thing is being difficult. Alright, let's try this again. So, I'm going to draw a line that's perpendicular to the line of the graph. And it's greater than, so do I want to shade above or below? I want to shade above, so I'm going to shade this side. Okay? And that would be our answer for this problem. So, we're going to go to example number 3. And I'm going to go ahead and graph this again. So we got our x-axis and our y-axis, and we're going to graph our points. So we got our y-intercept is at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to use our slope, which is 2/5. So I go up 2 and I go right 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put a point, and I'm going to work backwards. So down 2, left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's my graph. I have greater than or equal to, so this means it's going to be a solid line. So this time I am going to have a solid line. So we got this here. Put my arrowheads on. Okay. So now we got the graph done. Again, we're going to do our perpendicular line test. And this is less than, so we want to shade below. So I'm going to shade this region right here. And there's our answer. Okay. So there's not a lot to graphing linear inequalities. The biggest difference between this and just regular equations is that the equations are just a solid line, where the inequalities are either a solid or a dotted line. And then the other big difference is where you're shading. Okay? So now when we go to these two examples here, you have y is greater than 4/3 x minus 2, and y is greater than or equal to -2x plus 3. Both of these are our warm-up questions. You guys need to make sure you do them tonight. And make sure that you have them done so that when I select people in the morning, you're ready to go. Okay? All right, other than that, guys, have a great night, and I will see you in tomorrow.